Hey YouTube, Zealous Talon here with a arguably overdue review of the Power Rangers Legacy Titanus figure. As you can see, we have the box here. It's very massive. Massive box. I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to get the box in this review because, as you might be able to see, it's so big that you can put the Megazord and Dragonzord boxes comfortably in front of it. And it's also about half again as thick as those boxes are, so yeah, kind of just ridiculously mammoth box. But again, you can see we have the nice foil name, really nice picture of the figure up there, which actually is a little bit nicer than what we get in box. This is I believe a prototype because some of the details on this picture are actually not present on the toy itself, but it is still a very good toy. Now, I know this review is overdue. Titanus came out over a year ago. I believe it was a late 2014 release. But MGO just reviewed the Dragonzord, and I'm like, well, that's been out even longer, so I might as well get around to this, because I always wanted to review this guy, but he's huge. My life is pure chaos, and I just really needed time to digest this figure for a while before I could give an honest assessment of it. Now, I apologize if my voice cuts in and out a little bit or changes volume. This guy is really big. I'm working in an awkward space, so I'm kind of having to move around just to get everything going here. So what you get in the box is obviously Titanus. He's in pieces. But fortunately, it's all pieces that kind of already disassemble. Other than the neck is separate, but that just pops right off, pops right back on. So he actually breaks down really nicely to go back into the box if you want to store him like that. And you also get these two little knee pieces for the Mega Dragonzord that we'll need in the Ultra Zord combination. We'll take a look at those in a little bit. Now, Titanus himself is freaking amazing. This figure was very controversial when it came out because it launched at $200, and then people weren't really biting that quick, so Bandai dropped the price as low as $120 at one point. But he went to like $150, then $120, back up to $150. I got mine for $150 about a year ago, and I think that's a pretty fair price to pay. $200 is like the most I would have paid for him. Like, I was kind of willing to throw down the $2, I just didn't have it. But I mean, at that point, it's like, you must really want this thing. $2 is the absolute limit that you should pay for this figure. $150, very comfortable price point for what you're getting. So he's absolutely loaded with die-cast metal, more so than most places have pointed out. You get die-cast here in the chest cannons, as well as the claws on every foot, all 4 feet. He also has metal wheels with rubber tires, both here in the front, and all 6 of his back wheels, again, have rubber tires, and they're on metal rollers. The chain is metal, as it should be. And then the tips of the gun barrels here on his tail are also die-cast metal. So he's got quite a bit, pretty well spread throughout, so gives him a nice overall heft. Other plus points is the fully articulated neck, similar to the tail of the Dragonzord, except it doesn't compress. It just gives you a lot more range and expression. Head can look up and down, mouth can open, but if you put the head all the way down, his jaw's kind of restricted, so you kind of have to have it up like that. That happens too. All of the ball joints in the neck can pop apart if they're extended too far, but you just plug them right back together, which honestly I think is a good touch for something like this. If anything were to happen, like he rolls off a shelf or something, yeah, and yeah, no motor, but he still has the walking feature, quote unquote. But yeah, if anything were to happen, you know, this just pops apart, pops right back together, and I appreciate that in an expensive piece like this. I want to know that it's not likely to full on break. So the other thing worth pointing out with Titanus, again, just trying to kind of explain why he's totally worth the money, is just all of this painted detail. All these like glyphs, these black glyphs on the gold. Now all of that throughout the figure, anytime you see the black glyphs on the gold, that's all tampographed. But pretty much all of the rest of his painted detail is molded, like the Dragon Zord was. So like right here on the shoulder, again, you have the dragon symbol right there, which is also sculpted and molded. These red bits on the black, again, sculpted detail molded in there. Here on the chest, get some more of that. Shoulders, all throughout, just there is just an insane amount of paneling and sculpting going on with this figure. And when you really start to look deep at it, it's really, really nice. I also appreciate that there's not too many visible screws. Most of the body screws come in through the bottom. You have some here in the back legs, one on the right side of the head, and one here on the right side of the body. But overall, the screws are pretty well hidden, which I appreciate. The Legacy line, especially with the Thunder Zords, but just kind of in general, has not necessarily been the best about hiding screws on the Zords. They're really good about it with the roleplay items, though, which I might get around to reviewing those. So Titanus obviously combines. He has like a tank mode, which he can kind of do by himself. All you do for that is pop off his tail, which is connected by these two small ball joints here. And then you separate, and when you separate it, you get a lot more sculpting, paintwork, and detail revealed. You got silver in here, and it's totally filled out. Like even on the original version of Titanus, this was just hollow, but this is fully sculpted and painted, and it's just wonderful. And you also have a much more secure locking mechanism here. So in order to do that, you just set it on the shoulder and then slide forward, and it locks in place very securely. Very securely. You can lift him up. I mean, I wouldn't pick him up by it, but I mean, it's not coming off until you slide it back and remove it. So that's cool. So yeah, there's this tank mode again. Pow, choo choo choo. Yeah, guns firing. I'm still a kid at heart. Don't hate. So, and then in order to prepare for the Ultra Zord combination, what we're gonna do first, because I just want y'all to appreciate how wicked this looks, we'll take the tail of the Dragon Zord, and that will plug into the back, at which point you can extend that if you wish, and then, you know, use it with the neck. And I'm sorry, that just take a moment for that, because that's just amazing looking, having such an expressive kind of Titanus look going on. I mean, yeah, I know it's a distraction, but we'll live. All right, and then at that point we can remove the claws, straighten them, and open up. There's a little groove in there to get your finger in, or you can kind of push on it from the inside, which that one's being stubborn. I lied. But yeah, just open that up. And we'll do the same on the other side. Maybe this one will be a little bit more cooperative with the pushing from the inside. No, you're not going to do it. Not going to do the trick. That's fine. We'll live. Open up the back. And again, when you open this up, you get even more painting and sculpted detail. Which, yeah, by the way, his back is like just totally picked out with silver. You have this ridging, and then like all the little gaps in here is all filled in with silver, which is just wonderful. And then we can push on the inside to drop the bay, and then push on this gray piece. That'll reveal two more wheels. which these are plastic, but again, rubber tires. So he has a total of 10 wheels, all with rubber tires, which is amazing. But then we also get this piece to pop out. Set that to the side. Take the Dragonzord's chest piece, which I neglected to mention because I didn't realize it then, but when I reviewed the Dragonzord, this center bit, that's also die cast, in addition to all the rest that I pointed out. I might annotate that later, but we'll see. I'm kind of lazy. But yeah, we just slide that down in there. And we can kind of lean his head forward. Kind of just drape the chain over his neck for now. And then we can take our Mega Dragonzord right here. And we're going to want to start with these two black pieces that I mentioned earlier. And we're just going to slide those over the knees, like so. And that helps to stabilize it. And it's very much appreciated because this guy gets extremely top heavy. Because he wasn't top heavy enough to begin with. But we're going to take the claws from Titanus. And these actually clip on a heck of a lot easier than they did in the original toy, or even with the mix and morph that came out at the same time as the 2010 Megazord. These just go right on, just so easily. And we're gonna want to leave his arms down at his side for the moment, as that door pops back in and then it pops off, and usually it stays more stable. I'm just being ridiculous at the moment. But yeah, we take that, and then we'll take the chest plate. That'll simply clip onto his chest. We're going to kind of want to angle the arms forward. And we take him very gently, set him inside. At which point we can place the chain in the hands, get that nice and clipped in, there we go. And there we have the Ultra Zord, ready for battle, looking absolutely fantastic. Oh my god, you can't even see his head. Here. There we go. Oh my goodness, that's just... I mean, this is why you get Titanus, is basically for the Ultra Zord, but this is just, I mean... This whole thing is just absolutely incredible. Now, it is an expensive setup, especially now, because I think these are not being necessarily produced anymore, but if you can still get a Titanus, they are coming out with a black Dragonzord soon to go with the black Megazord, and I don't think that would look too off, really, having the black setup with the white Titanus. It would be a nice contrast, and Titanus has plenty of gold highlights to really kind of work with that. But I mean, even on his own, I think Titanus is a worthy purchase. Like, I mean, if you can get him before the other Zords, like, don't wait on him just to get the other Zords. Like, grab him while you can, because he looks beautiful. He displays well. And, like, look, even here, there's more detail popping out on the side of this part. I mean, this is all tampoed again, but, you know, with those really finer details, I can excuse them being tampographed, just because he does have so much more sculpted detail. And I really can't recommend this figure enough. I mean, $150 is a very fair price for it. $175, I'd still get it. $200 is the absolute limit that anyone should spend on this thing for any reason. Like, I mean, I guess before shipping, because shipping is going to be a bear with that huge box, and he is pretty hefty, but absolutely get this figure if you can, because the Legacy Ultra Zord is just superb, and it's a boat anchor. But that's my 2 cents on this figure. Absolutely get it. Zealous Talon, have a great day.